Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and today I'm up with the next video of top 150 interview questions of Fleet Code. So let's get started with the same. So today's question is longest common prefix. So we have to write a function to find the longest common prefix amongst an array of strings, and if there is no common prefix we will just return an empty string. So let's get started with this question. So we are given an input string, we are given a vector of strings where we are given a bunch of strings and we have to find the longest common prefix among all of those. So since we are given this string of vector of strings in which we have flower, flow and flight, and the longest common prefix that exists among these is FL. Okay, so let's get started. So I think after seeing this question, it's really simple that what we can do is we can simply compare two strings, first and second, and find out the longest common prefix among those. And then after finding that longest common prefix S, we will simply compare this S with all the subsequent strings that are present in string. Okay, so now let's add something like one more string in it, floor. Okay, so we will compare this FL with second and third string in third and fourth string in the vector of strings, and doing this comparison will ultimately lead us to time complexity of m into n. Why so? What we are doing in this, we are simply comparing each and every string one by one, right? So what I will do, I will simply compare two strings as using the helper function, and I will simply check for strs of 0 and strs of 1. I'll compare them and I'll use some comparator, and then I will get a string S, and then what I will do, I'll simply iterate from 2 to n over this, and I will simply compare this S with, what do we call, using the comparator function with string of I, right? This is what a brute force comes to our mind for this solution. Fair enough. And in this comparator function, we will compare each and every character of the string one by one, right? So suppose if I start comparing flower and flow, I'll compare F and F are same, I'll add this string to my answer, like F is added. L and L are same, I'll add my L to the answer. O and O are same, I'll add my O to the answer. W and W are same, I'll add W to my answer. And since this is the minimum, we'll compare the minimum with the largest one, right? Because the string S2 of I, the string of 1 has already been compared and it has reached till the end, so we'll not compare it further, and I'll keep this flow and I'll compare this flow with flight, and after comparing this flow with flight, I'll get FL as my string, and after comparing this FL with flow, I'll get FL as my final answer. And what I'm doing in all of this, I'm simply comparing all the strings with this first answer, right? So what I'm doing, I'm simply iterating on all the strings. I suppose that the size of my string in this vector is m, and the length of this and the size of this vector is n. So I'm comparing all the m cross n possibilities that are possible. So the time complexity comes out to be m cross n, or simply we can say it can reach till O of n square, like a like an n square time complexity, and this code will behave like this only. And the space complexity is O of 1 because we are not using any other extra space. So do you think that it is a really good complexity? I don't think so. The interviewer will not be the interviewer will not at all be happy with this approach. So we can not proceed with this code, right? So we have to give some optimized solution for the same, like what we can say, we can minimize the comparisons that we are doing. So let's discuss the optimized solution for the same. So moving further towards the optimal solution for the same, so let me just copy my array once, the strs which I'm already having, flower, flow, and we are having at last flight, and then flaw. Let's add one more word to it, flawless. So I think comparing, so rather than O of m cross n, what we can do, we can simply move to an n log n time complexity. Like why I thought of this thing. So one thing you have observed, that what is the longest common prefix amongst all of those? The minimum length string that is common amongst all of them. So why not compare the minimum length string with the maximum length string that we have? So why not compare the minimum length string like flow or flaw with the maximum length string like the flawless? Because when we try to compare the minimum with the maximum, first of all, what will happen is that all the common prefix strings will be in order. Like suppose I sort this strings of strs on the basis of the, like we suppose that we are having all of these words in the dictionary. So what will come first in the dictionary? I guess it's flow, then it's flow, and then it's it's flight. It would be flight. So let's just reorder all of this on the basis of what occurs in the dictionary. No, it would be flawless only. Flawless. Two of these words are done. FLI. Flight. And then flow. And then flower. So let's just sort all of these words on the basis of how they occur in the dictionary. So one assumption that I have done. So what we can see after sorting them on the basis of their occurrence in dictionary, we can see that all the elements with the common prefix are occurring in a bunch, right? All the strings that have common prefixes occur in a bunch. So we can see that flaw, flawless, flight, flow, and flower. So suppose I think of adding a word like frank. So frank will come after all of these. So is frank part of all of these strings which have common prefix? I guess it's not. So frank is somewhat in some different group. So we can easily find out that what is the longest common prefix amongst them. So suppose if I try to compare frank also amongst all of these, so what would be my longest common prefix? I think it would have been only F, because the second character in the first in the first one and the second character in the second one in the sorted order are not same. So the longest common prefix that can exist amongst all of this bunch is F. And if I suppose I try to delete frank from this, and then I what is the longest common prefix amongst all of these? I'll simply compare the first and the last, because this is the last occurring word as per the sorted order and this is the first occurring word as per the sorted order. So FL is the longest common prefix that exists. So suppose I try to add a word fan. So comparing fan with flower, so what is the longest common prefix that can exist? It's only F. So what I want to convince by what I saying that I sort all of these strings is that in this way our number of comparisons that we were doing, like in the previous case in the brute force, what we were doing, we were comparing all the strings. We were comparing all the strings with the first answer that we got. The comparison between 0th and the first element, right? So we are comparing that answer all the way along with all the strings that are present. Whereas after sorting, what has happened is we have got the bunch in which all the prefixes, we have actually got a bunch of strings in which the prefixes are common, right? So the common prefixes, so in order to find the longest common prefix amongst this bunch that we have, we can simply compare the first and the last and our work is done. Like we are only doing one comparison in this case. So it's a better solution. So the time complexity in this case has cut down to n log n and the space complexity still remains O of 1 because we are not using any other extra space. So we have actually bring down our complexity from mn to n log n. So I think it is the better or we can say an optimal solution to this problem. So now let's discuss the code for the same and proceed further. Okay, so talking about the code. So what I did is I simply compared that if I don't have any string in my strs, I'll simply return an empty string, and if I only have one, I will simply return the first element, because amongst one string we have the longest common prefixes, that one only. So now what I thought is I simply sorted my array and then I pass this comparison to my helper function, because in my helper function what I'll be doing, I'll be simply comparing all of my character. Simply I'll compare character by character, whereas in this case I tried to optimize it further, because I tried to basically move my like to iterate till the point that I have the minimum. Like in this case, if I want, I can only iterate till floor, whereas iterating till whole of this string like of size 6, it's not worth it, because after 4 length we don't have any character in that, so we will simply break out. So using this minimum size, I am iterating till minimum size, because in this case I will be moving in my for loop a lesser number of times, and I'm comparing it character by character using this condition, and whenever this comparison turns out to be false, I'll simply break out and I'll return my answer, and I've got my answer. So now let's run this code. What has happened is, okay, not recorded, I've done this by mistake. Okay, so it's running fine. So now let's submit our code. So it has worked fine. So now let's analyze the time complexity using this feature, n into m log n. I don't know, but it turns out to be n log n, because we are not comparing too many characters, and the space complexity turns out to be O of 1. So I think so this is the best solution that we can get up till now, and now that's all from my side, I can say that. So please, if you have understood this question, please do hit the like button on the video, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe my channel. And if you really love what I share, like I prepare all this by putting a lot of efforts of mine, so please do share it with your friends as well who are in need to know all these questions. And that's all from my side. And if you want to connect with me on topics other than the DSA, like how to prepare for interviews, the resume reviews and something like that, please do connect with me on platforms that I've mentioned in the description. That's all from my side. Thanks guys, keep watching my videos and keep giving me this love for motivating me. And if you feel that I've missed out something, please do mention it in the comment section. I'm happy to improve myself. That's all from my side. Thanks a lot.